Hello.
Hey guys, how are you all doing?
Welcome. I'm going very well. How are you going, Tyler?
Doing very good as well.
Alaister, how's life
Yeah, not
in
too
beautiful
bad.
Bali?
Just woke up though because it's a bit earlier here.
All right. Oh, yeah, of course.
Right.
It's 8 a.m. But that's not too bad. I can't
Now it's
really
just me
complain.
that's
Wow.
the super selfish one, and now you both need to get up super early to get here. It's not
Well,
fair.
Tyler, it's
It's
9
not
a.m.
too
for
bad.
you, right?
Yeah, 9
Okay.
a.m. is fine.
Yeah,
All
that's okay. Where's everyone joining? If you're in chat, tell us where you're joining us from and what time it is.
Yeah.
How does it
Yeah.
compare?
Yeah. Is it a reasonable time to you? Whereabouts in the world are you coming to us at 2 a.m.? Because that seems to be the only time anyone ever joins us. So welcome to the Supabase Happy Hour. So this is an hour every week, well, 2 hours every week, at least 2 hours. We end up going over every week as well. But 2 hours and a bit every week. That is the happiest time of the week for us because we get to just build cool stuff and hang out and do it all casually and hang out with the chat, find out things about people who are a part of the Supabase community. It's an awesome way to spend the end of the week. And for us, it's Friday, so it's even more happy than potentially wherever you're joining us from. And what have we been? Oh, well, yeah. Who are we? Who are you guys? So my name is Jon Meyers, and I'm a developer advocate from Supabase.
And I'm Tyler. I'm also a developer advocate at Supabase.
And I'm Alaister. I'm on the front end team at Supabase. Still not the DevRel team. I'll say it every week.
This week, though, Alaister joined the DevRel meeting, so
I saw
it's
that.
getting closer.
I was wondering whether that was like a little secret Easter egg, a little hint that maybe someone's job title is changing soon.
No, I'm coming for your job, John. I beat you to the DevRel meeting.
Oh yeah, that's true. You were there before me, like significantly before me. Yeah, all right. Maybe you would be a better DevRel than me. So yeah, we over the last I guess it's been about 9 weeks now. We have been building out a SaaS product. We have been SaaSifying a journal entries application. So the ability to write what you did each day and add some media alongside your journal entry. And then, we decided that was an awesome product to SaaSify because basically anything can be SaaSified if you have if you have a thing that the user is entering into the database, you can basically restrict how many of those they can enter into the database based on their subscription tier. So that's exactly what we're building with Stripe. And so so far we have built out a remix application, which whenever a new user signs in, does a whole bunch of automated cool stuff. If you're interested in how all of that works, go and check out the previous streams. And then once we have a new user, it goes and creates a user in Stripe's system. And then it comes back and and then anytime, what we're going to work on today is when the user clicks to actually purchase one of these subscriptions, handling that whole workflow and kicking off into a Stripe checkout session, which we started implementing last week. And then we will need to listen for webhooks from Stripe side, which we might get to today. We never get to anywhere near the amount of things that I think that we're going to get to. Every week I'm like, all right, this is the last one, right? Like we'll just finish the app. And then, we go off on side tangents of types and side tangents of styling and all kinds of things. So we'll see how far we get today. But before we get into all of that, there has been all kinds of cool stuff happening at Supabase or around Supabase this week. And so we had this Supabase crash course put up by the Net Ninja. So at the moment, there are 3 of the videos here. And so I think maybe they're drip feeding them out through the YouTube channel. But if you want the entire course, you can head on over to the netninja.dev and purchase this one. It's only $2. That's amazing. Or you can get access to all of the courses by signing up. But as you can see, this is a pretty significant course and goes pretty in depth into Supabase. So yeah, very cool. Recommend checking that out. Simon Grimm also put together this awesome kind of real world application where he was building a real-time Trello board with Supabase and Angular. So Simon's been making all kinds of awesome Supabase and Angular content. He's also been streaming each week. And so yesterday, I think was this one, part 5, where he is building a real world app using Supabase and Tailwind. And so, each week building another chunk. And so for the last 5 weeks, has been streaming that process. Which is very cool. Simon's very interesting to watch. I don't have much experience with Angular, so it's really interesting seeing that like other side. And Simon is awesome at presenting the other side.
Amazing.
So check that one out. This one was meant to be the latest Supabase tips video.
I think if you remove the space between Supabase tips, it works generally.
Ooh, there we go. Introduction to storage. Oh, don't play it. So, Tyler, what's this one about?
Yeah, basically, it's as the title says, it's introduction to Supabase storage. So, this episode goes into how you can set up your Supabase storage within your dashboard and how you can upload and download files or interact with files within your dashboard. So it's focusing on storage on the dashboard side. And then there's going to be different episodes coming out in maybe a few weeks to how to interact with storage objects from your I think, is it John? I think I can hear my own voice from someone's no.
All right, let me switch over to this thing.
Yep. But in
Put
the
on headphones like a professional.
Yeah, so this episode focuses on dashboard side of storage, and then there's going to be other episodes coming out that focuses on how you can interact with Supabase storage using a client libraries like JavaScript library. So
Awesome.
Keep your eyes open for those.
Yeah, very cool. I'm very excited for that. We also have who we are. That's not what I was. That ain't right.
John's clipboard has spoiled him again.
It always lets me down. We also had this awesome Auth in Nuxt 3 video go up, which is was put out by LearnView. Is it LearnView? Yeah, LearnView, which is a very awesome Vue channel. And yeah, they have put together this awesome example using Nuxt 3 and authentication with Supabase. So check that out. I have also been streaming way too much this week, so we'll see how much energy I have by the end of today. But my Wednesday, and then yesterday, and then today, I am streaming for an hour, trying to build out a website for the Navbar, which is a podcast that myself and Simon Vrashliotis have recently created. Where
It's great.
we go. It's great. Thank you.
Yep. I've been catching all the episodes as well. Live.
I think I'm one behind.
That's excellent. So we're also doing a weekly podcast where we help you navigate the web and raise the bar for your content creation. I'm getting really good at that little spiel. But yeah, if you're interested in web development, content creation, go and check out this podcast. But over this week, I have been streaming, building out a website for us because we have a whole bunch of like extensive show notes every week, and it sucks that we don't have anywhere to actually publish them. So so come and follow along while I build a Remix application that initially is making a request directly to the Notion API, and then that ends up taking a little bit of time in the way that we've implemented it, and just the way that the Notion API is kind of structured. You need to make a lot of requests to get the data that you need. So then we build a caching layer in the middle using Cloudflare Workers and KV storage, which allows you to kind of proxy those requests across, and then you're able to serve that data from the cache as quickly as possible if you've already fetched that data. Otherwise, you can go and fetch it fresh from Notion. So just kind of improving the performance of that whole system by building a caching layer that is distributed worldwide at the edge, so as close as possible to your users. So if that sounds like something fun and interesting to you, I am building a course here, which is totally inspired by my most recent Egghead course that I put out, which is entirely free and only 28 minutes long, or 14 minutes at 2 times speed. And in this one, we learn how to cache Supabase data at the edge with Cloudflare Workers and KV storage. So Supabase gives us another little magical piece, which is the database webhooks, which allows us to kind of like automate this whole process. So that's the little nugget that we don't quite get with this series. But you can go and learn all about it super quickly. So go and do that. But what we are building is this Happy Days project. So
pull
this
requests. When did that happen?
Oh,
3
yeah, wow.
pull requests. So this is awesome because what we've been encouraging people to do is try and get a few open source contributions up by contributing anything that they think would be interesting to this project. So we've intentionally been leaving out things like styling, and kind of leaving some little nuggets along the way that would be fairly small tasks for someone to pick up and create a PR. And so now we have 3 of them. This is awesome. They're all from Jason. Jason, come on now. Jason has basically styled our entire application. I think there's Jason and one other person that have so far contributed. But it's awesome to see all of the work that he has been putting in. Thank you, Jason. If you're joining us live here in the stream, thank you so much. If you're watching later, you rock. But so maybe we can jump off, get started by reviewing these PRs. So I will open up.
Amazing.
I really hope we've sent him like a lot of swag.
Yeah.
Really need to.
We need to send him much more swag, I think.
Maybe I wonder if we've got any gold Supabase hats kicking around.
Ooh,
Maybe.
maybe. This is definitely a golden contribution.
For sure.
All right, let's open this one up in VS Code. And I guess we can first off have a look at where we're up to in this app, and then we can look at how the contributions have changed that. And it's broken already. 8787 is in use. I need to go and find some other window.
Because of your other stream?
I think so, yeah. I think everything's still running from the other stream. Let's see. In here. And do I have any other VS Code windows? I don't. Okay, everything's broken.
It's we'll have to go and find that command that everyone always one of these ones to then find the port and kill the port.
There we go. 8787. So this is actually a really good tip to know if you ever get stuck with a dev server running somewhere that you can't find, or it's just crashed and you can't actually stop it anymore. You can check what's running on a port by running elseoff-i, and it'll give you the actual process that's running. And then you can grab this process ID, so this PID, and we can say kill -9, which means just kill it, just murder it, just destroy it. Do not let that session run anymore. And we run that, and now if we ran the same elseoff command, we'd see that nothing. It's just giving us an error for some reason, which doesn't seem right. But nothing's running on that port. And so now if we were to say npm run dev, see that port is now freed up and is now running our development server. So let's go to localhost over port 8787. And this is our beautiful, well, Jason's beautifully styled app. We definitely haven't done much on this page. But yeah, Sunday, Monday, happy days, Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. I hadn't noticed that before.
It's just
Even
everything's
written
just
like
perfect.
taglines and yeah, that's amazing. So these are our different tiers. So we've got a free tier where you can have 10 entries. These all say 10 entries because we actually broke this a little bit for Jason. So that's probably one of the PRs, is him fixing us destroying his work. But this standard tier had a different color. And obviously each of these had a different number of entries that you get for each of your subscription tiers. And basically the application, the idea of this whole application, as I explained before, is it's a journaling app. So we have, you can see we've populated this with a whole bunch of real content. But this is the title for our entry. This is our content. And then this is our beautiful model styling one of these super dope fresh hats that everyone is very excited about at the moment. So we have this page we can edit and we can go through and change something about this. We have a little bug that if we don't actually attach the images, then it tries to write them and then fails that it can't. I think it fails because it can't delete them. But yeah, something we'll work out later. We can create a new entry if we go to add new entry, which is reusing that same form. And yeah, we haven't really built too much of the SaaS-ified part of it yet, which is something we'll definitely jump into in this episode. Actually, yeah, we have some recap stuff to go through from last time as well, because we got stuck at the end of the last stream, and we I didn't.
It was our fault in the end.
It was 100% our fault. It always is. Let's be honest. I don't think I submitted it as like a PR that we could step through. That's a silly thing to do. But if I open up
it's all right. It's only a few lines of code.
Yeah. We have a create Stripe checkout. So yeah, this is kind of where we're up to. So we've got a whole bunch of commented out stuff because nothing was working. But the thing that we were missing was just this block up the top. So if you watched the previous stream, at the end of the stream, we were getting this weird issue where when we tried to call this edge function, which was getting a post request, we were trying to pull the plan ID that we're trying to currently subscribe to. We're trying to pull that out of the body of the request. And what we didn't think about, which totally makes sense now, once we talked to the storage team and they were like, what are you talking? The functions team, they were like, yeah, what are you talking about? Of course that didn't work. And that's because when you make a post request, it first sends an options request just to make sure that it's not wasting its time. Actually, is that the official, like what's the actual reason for an options request? Either of you know?
If I had to guess, I'd say it was just to make sure it wasn't wasting its time, but I don't know. Cause is usually a strange and magical beast that no one truly knows how it works.
Yeah, because we were getting a cause error, and then when we added a whole bunch of cause response stuff, it seemed to be working. But then when we tried to pull this out of the body, I think we were getting a cause error again, and that was because we weren't actually sending a response for this options method. So the first request that came in was an options method, and obviously that is just like a really, really slim request that is just checking, is it actually worth my time sending the big post request that has the big body of information, and usually gets back a list of things that are actually allowed. And so in this case, we're saying that we're allowing these headers and these origins, and so it goes, all right, cool. But before, we didn't have this early return. So the next line that we were trying to execute was trying to pull this out of the body. And so it was failing trying to turn this into a JSON response, trying to pass this as a JSON as a JSON object because there was nothing attached to there. So if we do this early if statement here to say if the request is an options request, we just want to send a response straight away and say, yeah, cool, send the other request. Stop wasting my time. Stop asking me if you can ask me a question. Just ask me the question. And so it goes back and says, all right, cool. If this is any origin and we're only sending these headers, then it's worth sending our post request, and then it sends the post request, which then checks, is it an options request, which it's not because it's a post request. So then it continues on. And then because it's a post request, it has our big JSON body. Hopefully that makes sense. But basically this, when you're serving an edge function that is getting past some kind of blob of JSON, some kind of body that you need to pull out, just make sure if you are checking if it's an options request and doing an early return. Cool. So now we are pulling out the plan ID, and then these are what we need to do next. So we need to work out who the user is, select their Stripe customer ID from Supabase, create a Stripe checkout session, and then return the session ID so that we can redirect them to that. We'll get to all of that soon, but just to show that this is all now working, we need to send a post request to it. So we wired this up to our buttons on the landing page. So if we come here and say, I'll open up the console, and if we say purchase, we're getting back that plan ID. So that is our edge function working perfectly, because all we're doing is pulling that plan ID out of the request that we sent from our application, and then we're just returning it as the response. So yeah, awesome. So should we review some JSON PRs?
Let's do it.
Yeah, maybe before we go into that, can we have a question from Elliot on the comments.
Hi, Elliot here from California. I have a question. Do you guys have a schema of the database, or is there a way to do a DB dump in Supabase to make sure everything is up to date? Do either of you want to take this?
Yeah, so in the README file of this repo, I've been trying to update it with the schema. At least I've updated with the initial schema, but I haven't updated since. Was it not this one? Oh no, it was the other one. Oh, okay, no, I'm confusing this one with the hackathon one. Okay, for the hackathon one I did it, but for this one I didn't do it. So never mind. So yeah, if we could export the schema and like maybe paste it inside README or something, that'll be kind of nice, wouldn't it?
That would be cool. If you want to quickly compare, we have the Happy Days repo, and if we go over to the schema, it is fairly basic at the moment. We just have the entries table with ID created at title, content, date, user ID, and asset URLs, and then our user underscore data table has ID created at customer Stripe ID, email, and subscription tier. But yes, we can, we'll put together a nice dumped version of the full SQL statement that then you could just run in your SQL editor. You can just come over here and say new query and just dump in a whole bunch of SQL, and it will run it against your Supabase database and bring it up to that point. But yeah, that's a good call. Sweet.
Okay.
And Jason is Rob is giving Jason the crown for all of the contributions, and I agree that is the the golden Supabase hat is just a crown. Awesome. All right. So, should we review some PRs?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to move this one over here. I'm going to open this up, and we're going to do it here. So it's all co-located. What was that beautiful GitHub?
You can remember it. You can do it.
GH PR. Was it PR? Yeah.
There's just a number?
I feel like we're missing one thing.
One thing, yeah. Check out. GitHub
PR. Check out.
Check out. And then the PR number, which I think we're up to like number 7 or something.
Wow, 10, 11, 12.
Awesome. Oh man, Jason's getting up there with the with the PRs he's submitting.
Let's click into number 10, see what it's about.
Oh, I have. Can we add this to a?
Yeah, we should add this to the Gitignore, yeah.
But let's just ignore. This is probably exactly what we did last time. Sorry, what did you say, Alaister, before?
Let's have a look at the PR itself in GitHub, see what it's about.
So we're looking at number 10, and it looks like we are wrapping this where we just iterated over our images and just dumped them out. That's offended Jason as to how unstyled and unprofessional it looks. So it looks like he's wrapped it in a nice div, and then also given that image some extra styling. And and cleaned up our messy preceding spaces that don't need to be there. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you so much.
And then added a border width 4 pixels.
Well, the tailwind, the generator.
Oh yeah, right, of course.
Which we should be ignoring so Jon doesn't have to delete it every time.
We should ignore it. Like I say every time, we'll ignore it next episode. Cool. That looks beautiful. All right, we haven't actually looked at what it looks like. The code looks beautiful, which makes me think that the styling is going to look even more beautiful. So this is on the entries $ID index page. So that would be when we're looking at an entry. Oh yeah, we need one with an image. Yeah. Is it on this page or is it on a different page?
I think it's this one, isn't it? Can't remember what it used to look like, but
maybe it applies when there's multiple images. I'm not sure.
Did we? I think. Oh, maybe we do actually have ones that have multiple images. I think we were doing that initially.
Yeah, I think so.
But it looks like I don't think it's being applied.
Refresh.
Hey, that's a good idea. Oh, no, that actually did work. What? All right. Awesome. That's looking much nicer. We've got that beautiful little border around it to make it consistent with the other pages, and we're alternating between that on hover, which is so nice. That's lovely. Yeah. Awesome work once again. And I'm assuming if we do have a collection, I don't know if we actually did upload one with a collection. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Wow. Very nice. Ah, man, that looks excellent. Beautiful. Very cool. I am giving that one a big old approve. Another awesome contribution. Thanks, Jason. Approve, submit. And then we can merge this one in. Confirm merge. And we should find Jason on Twitter. You should all go and follow.
Is it WalkerJN? Like, I'm just guessing by his GitHub handle.
I have to find you. We will find you, Jason.
Maybe not on Twitter. Who knows?
We don't have a picture on GitHub either, so we know nothing about you. How can we find you?
Okay, I know his Twitter. It's Walker JASON, like Jason. So Walker Jason. But the O on JSON is no, is this a 0? It might be a 0 instead of O.
This is Jason. Yeah, this is the image that he usually has in the chat when he joins us. So go and give Jason a follow. Why aren't I following Jason? That's rude. Go and give Jason a follow because, yeah, he has given us a whole bunch of awesome contributions and he rocks.
Yeah, so, I have just done the same.
Cool. So we've now merged that one in. So now I can pull that into our main. That damn generated file. Git checkout. checkout main, and then we want to pull origin main. And now I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to add see, we did.
I think we have to untrack it from Git, right?
Yeah, we might have to do a PR where we like delete the file or something. I think we'll do it next stream.
We'll do it next week.
We can probably do it off stream, I feel.
Yeah, even better off stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great idea. I'm just going to actually add a to-do to remove auto styled CSS, and also to create a schema file. Cool. We will do them. So we've pulled those changes into main now, so we could just check out the next one. So we go GH PR checkout, and then it would be number 11. Fix landscape images on entries.index. So yeah, Jason is even breaking these up into very small, very digestible PRs, which is awesome practice. And how you get your stuff merged in. He's also removed our console logs. The professionalism of our code base is just skyrocketing with Jason on board. This is awesome. So taking the class name off the link, and then I'm assuming putting it on the image or putting it on a wrapping div. Just basically cleaning up all of our mess and making things look much nicer. So we can have a look at what this one looks like. So this is on the index page. So routes entries, and then index. So the list of all of our entries. Run our project again.
That's why we needed to refresh last time, because we restarted the server.
Did I not refresh? Surely I refreshed. Who knows? Obviously, I didn't.
That's much nicer. Look at the cards.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, the image actually like, looks like it fits there, and we've got nice border radius around it. Yeah, that is very nice. Excellent work. Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, let's merge that one in. Thanks, Jason. And we'll give him the golden crown. Approve that one.
Yeah.
And we'll merge that one in. Confirm merge. Can you hear a bunch of like
nice
screaming and squealing and weirdness from my neighbors? Okay.
Actually,
they're fine. Yeah. Like as in kids enjoying themselves, not like someone being hurt. But just yeah, it sounds like lots of
now here it's like, I hope you can't hear there's like a bunch of, I don't know, cicadas or something like in the grass, really going for it.
Oh, we actually don't hear anything. Yeah.
Good mics.
It's pretty quiet in Tokyo, if you're wondering.
All right. We want to, I guess we could just check it. Well, just in case that they do conflict. Git checkout main. And then we want to pull down from origin main. What am I doing? I'm not even, yeah, this is, never mind. It is silly to do this. We just want to check out number 12. And then we want to, we've pulled it down, npm run dev. And what we're doing here is, it looks like he's taken out these comments. So I'm assuming he has added custom styling for preferred plan. Awesome. That was obviously.
I think we specifically said that, not Jason, but someone else could probably work on this, but Jason ended up.
We're going to have to deny the PR. We're going to have to delete the PR because we said no, Jason. No, absolutely not. This is awesome.
When we say community to do, we'll just start writing Jason to do.
Yeah. We'll just bring him into the stream.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you so much.
And also updating the number of entries per plan. So yeah, it looks like he's done some conditionals here to check whether the plan name is standard, and then if it is, adding those more pleasant, more highlighting colors, and yeah, worked out whether it's free, adding 10, whether it's standard, adding 50, or then unlimited. Very nice. Awesome work. Yet another awesome PR. And I think we can guess what this is going to look like. But if we head back to the index page here, and then refresh is the key. No, hard refresh. No.
No, I think it has worked because the
yeah, the button. Sorry, I was looking for this outer ring. Awesome. And then we've got 10 entries, 50 entries, and unlimited entries. Awesome work. Yeah. So your eye is totally drawn to that one that we want people to click on and we want them to go to. Very good UX, like distinguishing the kind of middle tier option as the one that draws people's eye. So they want to go and purchase it.
And it seems like we have a special guest in the comment section.
Look who's here. Thank you so much for all of your awesome contributions, Jason. You rock. I had less time this week, so only a few small changes. There's 3 PRs, Jason. That's infinitely times more than any other PRs we've had. So, yeah, you rock. But yes, yet another awesome PR. Approve, submit review, and oh no, conflicting files. If only we had fixed this problem.
We can resolve the conflicts in GitHub probably.
Yeah.
We can just tell it to take any of them, right? And then just redo it. Or should we... Wait, how do you resolve conflicts in here? Oh.
Just delete the thingies. Yeah.
So it would be what's on the community to-dos, right? Because that's the state of the current project. No, wait.
Doesn't this file get generated every time we run the build command anyway? So we can just
it literally doesn't matter what we do, even if there's stupid stuff in there, as long as we next push we do hard push.
Oh, we can do a hard push. We can break everything. That is fine. Cool.
We should hard push with the delete this file being deleted.
We should do that. Wait, we can. Yeah, that solves the problem, right? Let's do it. Commit merge. Wait, we're merging.
Yeah, we do it after this one because then otherwise we'll merge this in and it will put the file back, right?
Yeah. So we merge this pull request. Merge it in.
No, I think you have to confirm. Yeah.
Whoops. I deleted the project. No, we're back. All right, cool. And I think that's all of our open PRs. Thank you so much, Jason.
Nice.
And so we're going to quickly fix this problem so it doesn't haunt us every single week. And we're going to delete the styles. Actually, we can delete the whole folder, can't we? Will that help us?
No
we'll
idea.
Just delete the file. Delete that one. We want to be on the main branch though, and now we want to untrack. So we want to remove this from here so it is still actually tracking changes, right?
Maybe does the git rm command work here, even if it is in git ignore? I'm not sure.
Styles .css.
Like that did a change, maybe deleted.
Yeah, and now we want to delete that style file. It's good to have really clear messages here. This is going to be our new enterprise. Push F. Push F. Why am I doing that every time? Push F. This is an alias that I have, which also got rejected. Maybe because it does a gentle. Oh wait, we haven't pulled down origin main. Uh-oh. Wait, stop that. Stop everything. Git pull origin main -r so we can rebase the changes that we just made and the commit that we just made onto the end, which now has conflicting files.
Gotta love Git.
We're going to delete this file.
Do you want to delete it in Git first with the RM? Or maybe you can do it afterwards and then delete it.
RM app. Come on. Cool. And now we should be able to get, what is it? Rebase continue.
I don't know. I rarely use rebasing, and whenever I do, I have to look at the docs.
Right.
Me too.
So if you're not aware of what rebasing does, basically, like, we had some changes up in our remote GitHub, and we had some different changes down here. And so there was like 2 different histories, and it couldn't resolve it automatically as to what was going on. So what we did was we pulled down the history from here, and we said, all right, replay that history before I changed anything locally. And then those changes that I made locally, then append those onto the end. And then it couldn't do that automatically. So it gave us a conflict, which I resolved by just deleting the file and basically saying, this is the commit that I want to happen now. Like, I want to overwrite the commit that you're trying to play back by deleting this file, removing it from Git's tracking history. And then now that it has done all of that, we needed to push that back up to our remote, so back up to GitHub. But there were conflicts because now we've got like a completely different version of history and we've modified things. So we needed to do a git push origin main -f, which forces. But I have a nice little alias for push F, which just does, actually does force with lease, which is a slightly less intense version of force. But let's not go into it.
Can you just check the actual path of the styles file? Because it's like in git ignore, it's like under app styles, right? But in the folder structure, is it just under styles at the top level?
No, so this is our actual one. This is the one that we This is the configuration file for Tailwind, and then the one that Tailwind generates is inside app/styles/app.css.
Well, in that case, it looks like it's worked. It's
looks
gone from
like
GitHub.
it. Oh, cool. Awesome.
Fantastic.
All right. So
sweet.
We are in a working state, and we have unsaved changes here, which I'm just gonna.
Oh no, we don't want. We actually do want to commit that, right? Because the git ignore, we removed the Tailwind things, and now that we've removed it from GitHub, we can add that rule back.
Good call.
So we actually do ignore that file, and then hopefully we won't have this problem again.
I'll be a little bit clearer with this one, that we're adding the auto-generated CSS file to git ignore. Cool. And then this one doesn't require a force because we've just made a new normal commit. GitHub is so cool, or Git is so cool. It can get so complicated. I feel like everyone has their little like magic incantations that they do personally just to make Git work. Like, no one just like has a consistent normal workflow. Like, when you're watching someone use Git, they just like run these crazy commands you've never heard of, and like they kind of like they go this way to get to the same part, and you go this way to get to the same part. You both end up with the same like state of code base, but just everyone has their little magic tricks. I am going to run build, which is going to actually create this file, and now we can test that it hasn't changed anything in our Git history. So there's nothing to add to a commit. So the file has been generated, but Git doesn't care about it, which is exactly what we want. So here it is. And so now we can run npm run dev, and we should be back in we should be in the brand new state of our application, which looks very nice. Awesome. So this is why we never actually end up getting all of the big things that I think we're going to get done, because we go on big tangents about GitHub and what rebasing is and things like that. But it's fun just hanging out with you guys.
Learning things.
Yeah, talking about anything, learning whatever.
It's actual development.
That's true. Yeah, see, that's something that that's definitely one of the benefits you get with this. With us going off on tangents, the Supabase Happy Hour maybe isn't the best resource to quickly learn how to build a SaaS for your own product. But if you want to learn a whole bunch of other things along the way and just hang out with us and learn, go off on many tangents. All right, but let's build something. Let's do some stuff. So we were still building out that edge function. So what we've wired up is when we click this purchase button, let's have a look at that file. So this is under entries. No, it's under just our outermost root file. So this is what we're rendering to the page. So we're pulling out our plans from what we're returning from our loader. So basically, hopefully you have watched some of these or are a little bit familiar with Remix at this point, but a loader runs on the server before our component is rendered. So anything in the loader will happen before React tries to load our component in the browser. So we're going off to Stripe and we're getting a list of all of our prices. And then we had an annoying problem where the prices didn't have a product name and the products didn't have the price amount. And so we basically needed to combine these two API endpoints into a collection of plans. So we went and first got all our prices and then we iterated over those and we got their associated product. And then we could construct this nice object that just has an ID, a name, a price, and a currency, because they're the only things we actually care about on our pricing page. And then we just did a sort just so that they're displaying in the right order, and then returned them from our loader. So that's what we're getting here. And then we just were iterating over each of these plans and then rendering them out on the page. So that's what we're seeing here, these 3 plans. And when you click the button for any of those, we call this handle subscription function, which gets past the particular plan that we're trying to subscribe to. So if we click this one, the plan might be like, it's the ID for the plan. So it might be like plan _ 1287Z31. And so that's going to get passed into this function. And then we're making a call to our Supabase endpoint. So we're calling create Stripe checkout, which is an edge function that we created in Supabase. And we're passing it that plan ID. Something else that I think was shouted out, I think when I was talking to Inian on the functions team, I don't think we actually need to stringify this, maybe. Oh, no, that's right. It was the headers. So initially, we were passing extra headers to say, hey, this content type is application JSON. But we don't actually need to do that because Supabase does all that magic for us. So understands what this type of thing is. Actually, I feel like we didn't even need the stringify. I think it magically stringifies it as well.
Maybe in V2, but not here.
Okay.
We need to stringify. But also, right. I don't know for V2. I'm just speculating.
I think it was that. So yeah, in V2, you won't need to stringify this because it will just be able to magically do that for you and then set the appropriate headers. But it does set the appropriate headers for us and send that through to our edge function. So yeah, we've got more to-dos here that we need to get the session from our edge function response, and then we need to actually redirect to the Stripe checkout. So they're kind of the bits that we're going to do now. So when we call that edge function, it goes off to our Supabase, and then one of the Supabase, and then functions, and then in here we have our create Stripe checkout. And so yeah, this was the one we were looking at before, where this is an edge function that gets called when we click one of those buttons, and we're just pulling out the plan ID from the request.json. So that's just the plan ID that we're passing across as part of this body. And we've proven that we actually are getting that, and it's in a nice JSON format, because then we're just sending that back as the response, which is why when we click one of these buttons and open up the console, we see the plan ID comes back. And if we click a different one, we get a different plan ID. So we just need to wire up the last of this bit. So we need to work out who the user is first and foremost. I did actually talk to Inian about this and a nice clean way to do it. And he sent me a nice little code snippet, which we can use here. Sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, no, I just said nice.
Nice. Very nice of Inian.
Inian is the problem solver. If you have a problem in Supabase, just talk to Inian. He'll sort you out.
So there are a couple of ways that we can do this. And one way is that we can do, we can set the auth context for Supabase based on the header that we're getting for authorization. So when we use the Supabase functions.invoke to call an edge function, it will automatically pass through an authorization header for who the user is that's trying to perform this action. So the way that we get that is with this chunk here. So maybe I'll break this out. So this gives us I think the token, yeah. And then we're passing across that token to set auth. So we're saying for our Supabase, which we haven't actually created. So we can probably uncomment some of this stuff now, because we want to create a Supabase client with these environment variables. So we're doing the URL and we're doing the Supabase service role key. So it doesn't really make sense for us to set the auth context of our Supabase client, because we're trying to perform these actions with the service role key, which kind of bypasses RLS and sidesteps that stuff anyway. So setting the auth context for the whole Supabase client and then calling supabase.auth.user will give us back the user that's associated with that, and then we can get the ID for that user. Inian suggested that it's probably easier just to use a JWT library, and then just like because we already have that token passed across as part of the headers, we can just pull out the user in that token. So let's do that. Is it just JWT? Is that the npm library?
There might be a nice one called like Jose or Jose or however you want to. I don't know what they're going for. They're probably Jose because it's JWTs.
Wait, how do you spell it?
JOSE. Who knows?
Okay.
Because I think this one works nicely in Cloudflare Workers. And
cool.
It's pretty small, like Dino
awesome.
import.
Look at that. Let's definitely do that then if we're getting, if this is specifically built for our Dino environment. Cool. So, and then I guess
how do we think we say it, by the way? So I'm not like.
I think Jose, maybe Jose.
Yeah, not sure.
I don't
know if it's Joe's.
I don't think it's Joe's. I think that's the one that it definitely isn't. All right. So verification and claims. I guess we don't need to verify. We just want to.
Well, we probably should be verifying, right? Because then you could just pass in any old JWT, right?
Where do we get like our keys and things from, though?
Does Supabase set them for us as an environment variable? Or do we have to set the JWT? It's just a JWT secret.
Oh, yeah. So that is in the dashboard anyway. So we could go and get that. But I wonder if it does set it for us. I think there was... Did we find something about all of the different environment variables that are available. I think this tells us that we have, default secrets. Cool. So we have a URL and a non key, a service role key, and a Supabase DB URL. So we don't have that. We could add it. But is there an easier way to just pull it straight out?
Well, not without. I mean, you can just like grab it, but then you're not it's not secure at all, right? You just you could be any user because we're not verifying the token was created by Supabase.
All right, we'll step through it properly.
In that case, does it sound like it's easier to just do it the current method, just taking out the ID from?
Probably fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do it that way. Actually, you know what we could do so that we don't have, so that we don't mess with this one, which we're going to need to use in a second to go and get the customer ID. We could just say, we could create another one that's
like client Supabase client. Well, yeah.
client Supabase client. I call it Supabase auth client because this is like a super.
Yeah, we can even be better and use the anon key there as well instead of the service role key. So it's like, service anon key. Were you still on that page with the variables to get the actual name of it, or was it anon key?
I think it was. Yeah, Supabase.
Nice.
Anon key. Supabase auth client. So then we want to set the auth context to be our token that we're pulling out of the headers. Might just move this down. And then we are getting our user from our Supabase auth client.auth.user.id. Let's see.
Can we change the variable name of user to user ID? Maybe. Since it's just
good call.
And we can log it. Well, let's just return it in the response and then call it from the front end. See how we go.
Nice.
So I assume I'm still logged in our application. Probably.
I think you'll need a cheeky deploy.
A cheeky oh yeah, of course. What am I thinking? So we can. This was something that frustrated us last time, was switching between these constantly. So not bash. Come on. We can create a second ZSH shell here, which we can use to run anytime we need to deploy our edge functions. So Supabase functions deploy.
And then the function name.
Oh, really? That is awesome. And so it's create Stripe checkout, I think. Woo!
Yeah, I think the problem we had last week was you kept typing create Stripe session or something.
That's right. Yeah, I had sessions on the brain. Cool. So that looks like it has deployed worldwide. So now if we were to click that button again, give it a refresh just in case, but it doesn't make sense that it would change anything. No, we're still just getting our plan ID. So what has happened here? Let's go and see our Supabase Edge functions. Happy days, database. Oh no, sorry, Edge functions. We have this one, which was deployed on the 2nd of September, which is today. So it did deploy. And let's check our invocations. And let's try to... Oh, no, it did have a 200. What has happened here? Purchase. Just got a plan ID. Purchase. Just got a plan ID. What have we broken? So
we saved the file, right? Before we deploy.
I was going to ask that, but
yeah, probably.
Looks like it's saved, right? So
at the moment, so we're just creating an auth one to do that stuff.
Maybe a cheeky console log just above there.
Good idea. And let's Supabase functions deploy, create Stripe checkout. Refresh. Purchase. No. What have we done?
Logs instead of invocations.
User ID undefined.
Can we log the old token?
Log this one. I wonder if any of these are, whether we need to await any of those.
It might also be, although it should, you're using the get API, so it should be okay, but it might be lowercase authorization instead of with the capital A. But I doubt it because I think the get thing abstracts that away for us anyway. It's not like accessing an object or something.
Sure. And let's just make another one of these. The long version, that's this, which we can also print out, just make sure we're actually getting something at all.
Why don't you lowercase the long version, see if it does make a difference?
And so now, if we redeploy, and we click that button, and then we go over to here and refresh our logs. That's not a new one. Oh, that's a new one. Okay, cool. So we do get the token correctly, and we have the long version. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. So dot replace bearer with nothing. So this is just pulling bearer out.
This might be totally wrong, but does set auth actually populate the user object? I feel like it just gives you the. It does?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
I think we have to use dot session instead.
Oh, dot session.
Yeah, and then there might be a user ID property somewhere in the session.
Well,
it's still functions.
Let's see what we get back from that. So we need to deploy.
Worst case, I think we can just get fetch one data from what is it called, user profile table or something, and then just get the ID from there, and it should be the user ID, right? But also
it doesn't even set the session. Yeah, we do need to make a request to.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why Ian was saying it might be easier just to decode the token and have a look.
All right. Okay.
We can just call the get user endpoint though, right? Like it's slow, but that's the easy way to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Do you mean just like making a fetch request directly?
Yes, after on the Supabase auth client, after you do the set auth.
Yeah.
There should be Supabase auth client dot auth dot something.
Oh, get session. Wait, no, get.
Right, we don't get autocomplete here, huh?
Ah, damn. Let's look at this.
But we do over here. Supabase dot auth.
So it's supabase dot auth dot API dot get user.
Get user.
And then you pass in that JWT.
Okay. Cool. All right, sweet. And then sick. All right. So if we take this over here, and we say Supabase auth client .auth.api.get user, and we pass it in that token.
I mean, we can still do the set auth in case we want to use this client, which will still run then in the context of the user. So if we do any operations to update the user or whatever, we can ensure they're properly authenticated and everything.
Right. So in that case, we don't need to create this separate auth client. Then we can just use the Supabase client because we're just calling get user and passing in the token.
Well, yeah, you can, but that's exactly what I was just saying. The opposite of that is that we can keep the set auth around. So if we do want to like update the user with the correct authorization or whatever, but like, yeah, it's probably fine. We can just use the get user on the main client. I think it's simpler, right?
Yeah, because we only need the ID. Like that's all we're doing is we don't care about a session or anything like refreshing a JWT or anything. We just care about who is the user that has made a request to this. And I'm assuming by calling get user, we are checking this against that JWT secret and actually verifying this properly. Like that Supabase is doing that on Supabase's side, right? So when we get a user back, we know that that is a valid user. Yeah. All right. Sick.
Cool.
All right. So, what were we doing? Oh yeah, right. I'm logging out. I might just log out the user, and we'll also just return the user just to see what we get back. So let's deploy this.
You'll also need to delete Supabase auth client. You've still got the references. You just you were going to just call it Supabase, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of the second. It might break.
Is there a second?
Yeah, can we just clean it up? Otherwise, it's going to like, I don't know what's going wrong.
Sure. So you want to uncomment this one so we have an actual proper normal created client. And then we get rid of this one. And then we call these just Supabase.
And I think you have to await the get user call.
Yeah.
Probably
That is a good shout, Tyler.
Awesome. And then we don't care about this. And then we don't care about this. So we just have our user. And now if we redeploy, that should be all good. Cool. And then we click one of our buttons and it magically works. Go, 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 go. No. Oh, it did. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks
awesome.
Like great.
Sick.
Great.
So we have a user, and then in there we have data, or we have user. Should we use data or user? They both have an ID.
In V2, it'll be data user. User will be inside data.
All right. Well, let's just use data.id for now. So yeah. All right. So we have our whole user object. So we may as well just keep that. Oops. And then we can say, so we've worked out who the user is. One of our to-dos is done. We then want to select their Stripe customer ID from Supabase. So let's see how much of this. Oh, it does not have our back. Const. We'll get back data, and we want to call await Supabase.from the profiles table. We want to select the Stripe customer ID column, but we want to do this with a match for ID on user.id.
Was the user object? Sorry, go ahead.
It wasn't. Was it profiles or was it user data or something like that?
It was user data.
I don't remember. I'm actually asking.
It was user
data. You'll need to put if you're going to do user.id, you'll need to put curlies around it when you destructure above.
Yeah. Do we want to do that right there?
And then maybe around that one.
Yeah. Line 27.
Oh,
user.
Yeah,
yep.
And then even like an if not user throw an error, so in case they're just like
throw new error, say user not found. Cool. And then we're going off to Supabase and we're selecting a Stripe customer ID.
Do we want to add single at the end?
Yeah, good call.
Our favorite modifier.
So the difference between .single and then leaving it off is if you leave it off, even though we're only going to get back one row, because there's only going to be one row that matches this ID, because the ID is a unique value. So if we leave it like this, data will be an array with one value in it. But if we chain on .single, it will give us just that row. Instead of being an array with that row in it, it will be just the row itself. So basically one object instead of an array of objects. Cool. So we have selected, if we actually have selected it. So let's pass through data here and deploy our function. And then click our button. And we get back some data. And that data has a Stripe customer ID, which looks like the correct ID. Awesome. So we could probably just destructure that from here to say ID. So then we need to create a Stripe checkout session based on that user. And so the what we're like, the overall thing that we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to create a session in Stripe system that is specific to the user who's trying to purchase one of these plans. So when they click that button, we've now identified on Supabase's side, like this is the customer who's clicked the button. So now we need to go and tell Stripe system, we need to create a new checkout session for this customer, and then they'll get automatically redirected to Stripe system, and they can put in their credit card details and do all of those things in a much safer environment, one where we don't need to worry about storing credit card details and things like that. So to create a Stripe checkout session, we're going to need to use the Stripe library. And so that was one of the other things that we had commented out up the top here. So we're going to pull in this Stripe library, and then we are going to create a new Stripe client by using our Stripe key, which I believe we set as an environment variable in the previous stream, but we'll find out very soon if we didn't. And we also need to pass it a HTTP client, just because we're in this Dino environment that's slightly different to Node. If you were doing this in Node, you wouldn't need to. You would just call this function to give you a new Stripe client. You wouldn't need to worry about passing this HTTP client part. But we should now have a Stripe client instance similar to our Supabase client instance, which is like wired up to talk to our Stripe account. So now we could say, well, what do we actually want to do? We want to create a new.
That's it.
Sorry?
Copilot.
All right, Copilot's got it. Let's see how far we can get. We need a new Stripe checkout session with a customer set to the Stripe customer ID. That's correct. Payment method set to card. That is correct. We need line items. So we need to tell it what we're actually purchasing. So let's see if it can put this together. This is going to be an
line items. I think we might have to use subscription data, which is an object and then has a field called items where you pass in the plan. Are we sending up the price ID or the plan ID?
We'll be sending up the price ID.
Good. Yeah.
Yes. But we can do, I think we can do this from here and then set the mode to subscription, I think.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see. We have a plan ID here, don't we? All right. Wait, what were you saying? I want to go your route now.
I was saying instead of line items, you have subscription data. You put it in mode subscription and then subscription data.
Mode. So the mode is going to be subscription, and then the subscription data.
Underscore data. Sorry, it's all yeah.
That's an object that
It has a
has
field called items, and then a single item, which has a plan set to, that's it.
Awesome. The answer to all development now is just keep letting Copilot write each item, each line, and everything will be fine. So we have a customer, we have a mode, which is subscription. We have the payment method type, which is going to be card. So we're charging their credit card. The subscription data is set to this array of items. So this is what's actually going to appear in Stripe system as what we're charging them for. So if we give it a plan ID, then it can go off and find that plan in Stripe system and automatically populate it, and it will just look nice and professional and trustworthy to put your credit card details into. And I think we also need, from memory, a success URL to redirect the user to after things have worked out.
URL, you're quite right.
Yeah. So we'll have a success URL which can be set to
hard-coded localhost.
Wait, can we? Can we actually do localhost while we're testing?
Yeah, why not?
So I was thinking
there's no rules, John.
Like it's on the, but it's not. Yeah, it's not on there. Like it's not a server redirecting to a server or anything. This is in the client session, which is happening on the browser. So we can do this. We can go to localhost over port 8787. And we'll just fix this up with our deployed URL once we actually deploy this to Cloudflare workers. But for now, we'll create a new success page, and then we'll do the same thing for a cancel URL. So if the user starts the process and starts going through entering their details, and they're like, actually, I don't really want to purchase this, I'm going to cancel. When they hit cancel, where do you want them to go? And if they go through that whole process and they get to the end and their card has successfully been charged, where do we want them to redirect to see that message? And then I think that is it. So now we should have a session, and then this session, I think, contains just an ID. So let's pass back an ID set to our session.id, and then we can handle that from the front end and work out what we want to do. But I think that means our to-do to return that is done. Our to-do to do this is done. Should have had this out of the way. Oh, this should be all good. Should work. Maybe work. Let's see.
Believe.
So we're gonna deploy this. And
so how are we updating the what is it called, user data table with this? Are we receiving a webhook and then we updating the user status, or
yeah. So this is one part of it where we're handling just the fact that they want to pay for something, so they get kicked off to Stripe system, but then it's all in Stripe system, so that's all like happening behind the scenes. So then the way that we sync our system with Stripe system is, they send us webhooks to say this thing's changed, this thing's changed. Right. So basically when a customer actually successfully pays for a new subscription, we need to set up a separate Edge function, which we'll look at. We probably will have enough time to do. A separate webhook or a separate Edge function that is listening to all of those webhooks, or at least the ones that we care about.
Sure.
Cool. But let's see if this part is working. So if we click purchase, we should hopefully get back an ID for our session, which we do. Cool. So this is our unique customer session.
I'm amazed that worked.
Wow, it worked. That's amazing. So we got back an ID in here. So this is still in our handle subscription function. So data, is that what we're console logging out here? Yes, we're console logging out our data and we're console logging out our error, which is null. So rather than doing that, our to-do was to get the session ID from the Edge function. So basically data.id is equal to our session ID. So then we need to redirect the client to Stripe system using, I think we started this process. Yeah, we installed the @stripe/stripe.js library. So this is the front end client code side of Stripe. So anything that we're doing where we're like creating a new customer or like charging someone or anything like that should be done on the server side. And so that's this library, which we're only using in our loader. But then anything we're doing on the client, we want to use this Stripe.js one. So this gives us a load Stripe function. So we can call that here and say const Stripe is equal to await load Stripe. And then rather than Stripe publishable, this will be our Stripe key.
What we called it? No, it's client side Stripe publishable. Why not?
But I think we've actually created one. Oh yeah, it'll be in our .env. No, that's our Stripe secret. That's that one we weren't meant to reveal. Or it wasn't in our Wrangler.toml file.
Yeah, we can put it in the Wrangler toml because it's like, yeah, it's a publishable key.
I'm going to say Stripe public and Stripe secret, just so that it triggers in our minds what's going on there. So our Stripe public key we're going to get from Stripe. So if we head over to stripe.com and we sign in, and we probably reveal my mobile number yet again. Excellent. Fantastic. We have this publishable key. And so last time we were dealing with the secret key and we couldn't reveal that. We shouldn't reveal that on the stream. And then we just did reveal it a second ago. But we are going to click to copy this one. And then we bring it over to our wrangler.toml file. So this is where we're declaring all of our environment variables that can be public. So our environment variables that we want to be available to anywhere in our application, so both server-side and client-side. So we should now have our Stripe, I'm going to call it Stripe public key, and I'm just going to restart our development environment just in case it needs to read in that config file again. And now we should have a Stripe public key that's available to us in the same way that Supabase URL and Supabase anon key are. So in this file, we are using our, that's our Stripe secret. Where are we using our?
Right there, line 50.
Yeah, it'll probably work, right? Public key. I just don't remember if it has like env or anything in front of it, but I think it just injects it like
no,
this, right?
we can put it in whatever that other file was where we had the declare block, and we can say it's a string.
That's what's going on. All right, cool. So in our
I don't know, it's in a random spot where it shouldn't be. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Search for declare in the sidebar.
Declare Supabase. That's well, yeah, I guess it made sense before. It doesn't make sense now, but we want.
Do we need to pass it through on the window? That's
yes.
right.
Oh,
it's all right. We've already got it all. No, we've already got it all set up. It's not going to be a problem.
All right. So our Stripe public key is going to be available in this environment, and then we're going to make our Stripe public key available on the window. And the way that we're going to do that is we head on over to our root.tsx file. And so all of the environment variables in a Remix app are automatically available server-side. But if you want to make them available on the browser, you need to manually do that piping yourself. So this is kind of like what like Next.js gives you out of the box by prepending environment variables with next_public_. So they will automatically be available within your like client side Next.js code. But in Remix, you need to do that work yourself. So we need to grab this from our loader. These are automatically available to us because remember the loader runs on the server side. So we can just pull out our Stripe public key. We're then returning that as a big JSON object, which we pull out of the used loader data here. and then we are just taking everything that's in that and dangerously setting in a HTML of the HTML of the underscore HTML field to window.env and then equal this. So basically we're just putting all of these environment variables on the window, which is totally fine because they're public values that we want to be able, or it's totally fine for us to expose these to the browser. But that's why we need to go through this process, because you wouldn't want all of your environment variables available there. You definitely wouldn't want your Stripe secret available there, because then someone could go in and, transfer all of your money to their personal account or something like that. So don't do that. But we should now have that available on the window. So if we go to, not this one, this one, so many indexes, we should now be able to say window.env .stripe public key, and then use that to set up a client-side instance of Stripe, which we can then use to redirect our user. So we can say stripe.redirect to checkout. And so this is a function that takes in a session ID, and we're going to set that session ID to be our data. And then if there is an ID field, then we want to set it to that. And we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this. This is actually an await. And we've now got the session ID from our Edge function, and we've also redirected to the checkout. Cool. So
sweet.
That should be it. And we may as well just handle this error properly and just say, yeah, console log error. Perfect. Do you reckon it's going to work?
Well, the last one worked first try, so there's no reason to believe this one would be any different.
No. That sounds nice and consistent. It'll be totally fine. Let's click purchase. We're going to go for the top tier. We're going to go premium. Oh, look at this.
Nice.
Now we're in the beautifully designed Stripe interface. And as you can see, it's like, yeah, it just handles all of this for us. It's saying subscribe to premium. So because we've passed it that plan ID, it can go and get all of the data from Stripe side and say, oh yeah, that is called premium. It's $9.99 per month. And we can see that this is our Stripe store as well, our Happy Days store. So we can pay with card, something that really helps to know, that took me way too long to learn when I was playing with Stripe initially, is that you have these like test credit card values that you can use to test like your success pathway or your failure pathway. And so if you just do a whole bunch of 5 2s,
you use 5 2, 4 2,
4 2. Oh yeah, 4 2. What am I talking about? I used to be so good at writing this.
Well, the cool thing about it is you can just keep typing 4242 even through these next few fields, because Stripe will automatically make it 0424. So you just spam 4242 and hit tab a couple times.
I wonder if there's like a.
I did not know this.
I wonder if there's a browser extension that like automatically, like if you are in a Stripe and there's the word test mode anywhere on the page, just like automatically pre-fill all of these with 4 2s. But yeah, do you remember what the other ones are, Alaister? I'm sure we could very easily Google it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I only use 4 2. Who wants to test when credit card charges fail?
That's true. That's the boring path. We want the happy path. This is the happy hour stream. This isn't the failure to charge a credit card stream. So yeah, 4 2. That is all. This is a success card that will go through successfully and emulate a correct charge. But something actually that's interesting is this needs to be a date in the future. So this trick is only going to work for another 2 years. Then you're going to have to come up with a new trick. But yes, this needs to be all 4 2s. This needs to be some date in the future, and this can be anything. This can be anything. And then, yeah, the country or region that you want to test. And yeah, we just click subscribe. And boom, we get that nice little green tick, and we get redirected to a page which we have not yet created.
Nice.
So we should probably create that page. So in our routes folder, we can create a new file for...
Did you say community to do?
Well, how about we just create the files, and then we won't put anything in them. So we can just have like, oh, come on, Copilot, catch up. Look at that. Maybe we don't even need the community. We just make it a GitHub, a Copilot to do. Let's say community to do. Add a nice page for success. And then we can just take this exact same thing and create a cancel.tsx file. And in here, we can just find and replace the word success with cancel. And we'll change this text just to "you have not been charged," so people don't panic. And now if we refresh this, we'll see success. Thanks for signing up. So now that whole flow is now working. If we come back to the landing page and we click a different one, so let's say we want to go to the standard tier. If we purchase, we get kicked back out to Stripe. And you'll see it's remembered my test credit card from last time, which is awesome. And I can just click subscribe, and that will change my level. And actually, we can check that this is working correctly over in Stripe's system, because if we go to our customers, we only have my one customer. And then you'll see that the subscription was created for $9.99, and then the subscription was created for $4.99. So yeah.
Double
in this case, double subscription, right? How we handle canceling the other one?
That is a good point.
Should be, well, we'll basically not show that subscribe button once they've already got a plan, and then we'll show like a manage account button or whatever it is. And then
of course,
through interface. But
nice.
So there's another flow, what Alaister is talking about is there's a separate flow called a customer portal flow, which is like our checkout session. So we create a customer portal session, and then that basically links them directly to like their account in Stripe. And so then when we set that up, then that will have all of the plans listed there. So they won't be able to select, when they change that plan, it will change it rather than purchasing a new one. So as Alaister said, we won't show that button as subscribe. Maybe we'll show it as like manage subscription or whatever, or take them to the dashboard. So they can't repurchase additional plans, but they're able to probably from the dashboard, they're able to go through and manage their subscription, or even from the pricing page, they could go straight to a managed subscription flow. So
sweet.
We have, sorry, Alaister, were you going to say something else? Is there something else you need to do?
Yeah, no, I think I was going to say exactly the same thing you're about to say, and that we've got these subscriptions in Stripe. That's all nice, but we don't have it synced up with our application. So, John, what are you thinking? How are we going to sync those up?
Well, I think we're going to use webhooks. So, as we were talking about before, anytime anything changes on Stripe's side, it's because that's off in their system, and like we don't have access to that, which we don't want access to that, because having access to that opens us up to all sorts of money, scary stuff. So they can just send us webhook events anytime anything changes. So when someone does successfully sign up for one of these, we want to know about that so that we can update on Supabase's side that person is now a different tier of subscription, which means that then they will be able to actually do that different stuff in our application. So they'll be able to publish more entries, for example. So I was just going to quickly check, have we already set up the user data for this? Oh yeah, right. We have our subscription tier. So our subscription tier is either free, premium, or I think the other one was...
Is that an enum, or is this was this a text? I don't remember.
This one is enum.
Oh, we did.
So we have free, standard, and premium, which I think lines up with free, standard, premium, and free, standard, premium. So this lines up with our three special plans that we have in our application, as well as I think over in Stripe. So we need to create a new webhook to do some handling of webhook event stuff. So let's do it. Let's create a new one. Do you reckon we have time?
I reckon we have time, especially if we do this in the real development sense, in that we go and copy paste an example that we have for this exact use case in the Supabase repo. Where I'm actually not sure where it is, but I've seen it before. The Stripe webhook, Supabase Edge function. Oh, I don't know if that will work.
Supabase, Stripe, webhook, Edge function. Surely Google can sort this out.
Supabase examples, Edge functions, and then Stripe webhooks. Yes. I will send you a link, Jon. I've sent you a link.
Damn, he won. All right. All right, we have... Oh, this looks like a very nice way for us to get this done by the end of this episode. Cool. And so this is, I'm assuming, Thor put this together, who is our wonderful Stripe expert, given that he used to be a developer advocate at Stripe. So anytime we have a Stripe question, anytime you have a Stripe question, firstly, come hang out with us on the Supabase Happy Hour and ask us live, and we can do our best to answer it. But if we can't answer it, we will definitely nudge you directly towards Thor, who will definitely have an answer for you. So this is a Supabase Edge function, and so you'll see we're pulling in. Well, why don't we let's just copy the whole thing?
Yeah, and then
let's
we'll
stop
talk
pretending we're not going to copy it all.
Editor, because I think that it's easier to see, slightly bigger.
Yeah. So we will create this properly through the Supabase CLI. So we will create a what did Thor call it? Stripe webhooks.
Maybe just even Stripe webhook, or maybe it is webhooks. I don't.
It's webhooks because it's like listening to a collection of webhooks from Stripe. New.
But isn't it itself like a single webhook that
it is?
Call?
What if we say Stripe webhooks webhook?
Webhooks, webhook. Yeah.
Love it. All right, we have our Stripe webhook, and then we're just going to come in here, and we are just going to replace everything with this. And I just like getting rid of these comments up the top. So import serve from here. So now we can serve a request. We're pulling in Stripe from that same. I wonder if it is the same. Anyway, we're pulling in a version of Stripe. And then we're using that same thing, except ours, I think, is called Stripe Secret. Too many comments. Come on. We don't need comments. So we're creating that client, and then, this is needed in order. Glad there's comments here. This is needed in order to use the Web Crypto API in Dino, which I don't think we need to do because, or maybe we do when we're constructing an event. All right. We'll look at that in a second. So we are going to leave that there so we can create a crypto provider. And then, so this Stripe signature is automatically passed across as part of the header when we receive this request from Stripe. We then get a body, which we're pulling out in text. And then Stripe gives us this lovely handy function called construct event async. And so what this does is it not only turns this big request into an event that we can then go and check what the event type is and what webhook we're receiving from Stripe, it also checks whether this is a valid request and whether this has come from Stripe. So that's why we pass it the signature, and we also pass it a Stripe webhook signing secret. So this is an environment variable that we're going to have to set up. And so let's do that now, actually. So we can go and get our Stripe webhook signing secret. This is probably one that we should keep secret as well, but I don't think it doesn't matter as much, right? It'll be fine. We can always just create a new one. So, sorry, where we're going is developers. So this is where we go to do all our developer stuff with Stripe, and usually anything that we want to do with the API or the JS library or anything like that. We're then going over to webhooks, and then we need to add an endpoint for our Stripe webhooks that we want to listen to. We're going to confirm our password. It's probably going to leak my mobile number. No, woo, go team. So we need to add an endpoint URL. So this is going to be our deployed function here. So if we don't have any big errors, why don't we just try to deploy the deploy? Yes. This webhook, just so that we get a URL for it. And then we can take...
I think you have to get it from the dashboard, but if you click that link, it will take you right there.
Boom.
Or do it this way.
Clicked the link. Yeah, I was too far gone. All right, so this is the URL that we want here, which I don't think it's going to let us copy from.
Is it that one? Are you sure, Jon?
It's not that one. Details.
I mean, are you in the right function to begin with?
Create Stripe checkout. I saw the word Stripe. I guess they all have Stripe. Damn. All right. This one is the correct one.
Slightly wrong.
Stripe webhooks. Endpoint URL is this one. So this is what we want. So we're going to copy this, and this is what we're going to create an endpoint URL for in Stripe. So we're telling Stripe, this is the endpoint, or this is the URL where we're listening for events from you. So send anything that happens in our Stripe account through to this endpoint, or not anything that happens in our Stripe account, because we need to select the events that we actually want to listen to. So we explicitly set up the finite list of things that we want to hear from Stripe, which... actually, what do we want to listen to? What's this listening to?
Well, I think it's grabbing whatever event comes through and then it's letting us handle it. So we need to choose what one we want to trigger on. So I think we've got a couple of options here. What's your preference, Jon?
So I like listening to just the just the subscription details stuff, because they I don't really care if the card was successfully charged or whatever, like all of that happens, but then the actual event that I care about is just like the subscription status has changed. So there are lots of edge cases, there are lots of combinations of things that get confusing, because if they have a higher tier of a subscription and they downgrade, they don't actually get charged again. So their card doesn't get charged again, but their subscription status changes to the lower subscription. So anyway, all that to say, we have these different subscription things, so we can check whether our customer's subscription has been created or updated or deleted. Basically, when it's created or it's changed, Stripe will send the customer.subscription.updated webhook. So I like actually only listening to this one, which means something has happened and we've updated. And then the other one is deleted. So when the subscription actually ends, it's not when they cancel the subscription. Gosh, there are so many things for us to go into, but it's not when they click cancel, because again, they've been charged for a full month. And so the rest of that month, they're still a subscribed user for the rest of that month. But when their subscription ends at the end of that month, that's when we want to know that they should no longer have access to the premium features of our application. So we need to wait for this customer subscription deleted, which might be like, 30 days or 29 days after they've clicked the cancel button, because they're just waiting for the rest of their subscription to elapse. But then we want to know when that thing happens at the end. So that's the customer subscription deleted event. Should we listen to created as well anyway, just so that we can see what's going on?
That's what I was going to ask, is like, does updated happen if you don't have a subscription at all?
Yeah, it does.
Well, so then that's fine. Who cares?
Triggers the create and the update.
Work. But speaking of doing more work, we can before you hit add, we can go over to JavaScript on the right-hand side instead of Ruby and copy the case statement, right?
Yeah. Ruby, right. I was like, this doesn't look right. What are you talking about? Yes, we can go over here and we can actually, it's even like highlighted us like, hey, this is probably the chunk that you want to go and put in your code. So yeah, all this other stuff is happening in our Edge function. And we just want to handle those different cases. So if we come back over here, I guess we want to do that here, right? After we've got our received event.
Maybe lower down.
Oh, right. We created this outside the try block. I was like, but we don't have access to it. Yeah, cool. So we probably want to do that, down here, probably just before we send.
I haven't used all the idempotency stuff. It looks interesting.
Yeah, this all.
But it's cool because this is probably some Thor magic. But for those that don't know, idempotency means if we get the same event twice, if a function is idempotent, it will the outcome will be the same regardless of how many times you call it. I think is a definition maybe. So in this case, if we do this little bit of extra work, it means we won't, I don't know, create 2 subscriptions accidentally for a customer in our own database or something.
Yeah. So like upsert is a good example of an idempotent thing. You can run an upsert over and over and over again, and it's not going to like create a new customer every single time. But if you were to just use insert, then it's going to insert a new customer every single time you run that. So yes. Cool. So we've got all this magic idempotent stuff. Oh yeah, we could read these comments. So first step is to verify the event. The text method must be used as the verification relies on the raw request body rather than the passed JSON. Cool. So we get that. And then secondly, we use this event to query the Stripe API in order to avoid handling any forged events. So we're just making sure that they haven't, that this is a valid event that is not fake and forgery. And then if available, we use the idempotency key. So we get that. So yeah, down here, I guess this is where we actually, there you go, the comment right there. Finally, we can handle the event.
Wow.
So this is where we will have our switch statement, but rather than event, we want to make all of these.
I think we want to use the retrieved event, not the received event, because we use the received event to retrieve the event. Oh my, no, wait, what? Yeah.
Right. Retrieved event, which is this event here. So this is after we've done all of the forgery checking stuff. So yeah, the received event is what we got initially. And then the retrieved event is this, let's say, safe version. And then we want to check, is the retrieved event .type customer subscription created? Is it customer subscription deleted, or is it customer subscription updated? And what's the problem here? It's yes, it is any, and also it hasn't been used yet. So we'll use that in a second. Actually, we might just console log out. How about we firstly just console log the type, which can be set to retrieved event.type. And we can just see what actually happens when we make a request. So let's just comment out this stuff for now. So let's have a look at what kind of types of requests we get when we have a successful a successful subscription change event thing. So if we deploy
close curly after the comment out when you commented it out.
Good call. Right. So when we deploy this, if we head back over here, so we've copied this. These are the events that we care about. So we click Add Events. So this is our endpoint that we want to call. The events on our account are the ones that we want to listen to. And we want to listen to the current version. And these are the 3 events that we care about. So now we want to add this endpoint. And when we add that endpoint, we get this secret, this signing secret. I'm just going to reveal it. Don't be jerks. Just be cool.
Yeah, it might actually be okay if it's just used for signing, because it might just be used to verify requests, or maybe it is the one that's used. I'm not sure if they're using asymmetric or symmetric encryption or whatever it is. It's signing.
So this is a test account, so you really can't do anything. You'd just be wasting your time. But if you wanna spend some time hacking our development account, then do that and send us a screenshot, and we'll send you some swag. So
don't encourage them, Jon.
I just like to send swag. All behavior, good or bad, gets rewarded with swag. So we want to create a secret again. So we're going to say Supabase secrets, and then I think it's set. And then the name of our, the name set. It was Stripe signing secret. And that equals this value. So that's now available in our Supabase Edge function. So if I move this out of the way again, so now back up here, that's where we're, oh no, that's much longer. But we can just make it Stripe signing secret. So this is what we're passing to the construct event async function, which is just validating that we have the correct signature, or the correct body, the correct signature, and the correct signing secret, as well as passing through this crypto provider, which I don't know, must do something extra magical that Thor knows about. Which maybe we'll ask him so we can tell you, rather than just saying Thor knows something that we don't.
Well, I can tell you. Crypto provider, because Dino, like the normal Stripe package, it uses the Node crypto package, but we're in Dino land, so we can't use the Node crypto package.
Okay.
So we just
so this is
use the standard web crypto API, and Stripe has an adapter for it, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. So it's like this, where we need to pass a HTTP client because we need to specify what it should actually use in this Dino environment. It's sort of similar with this. We want to pass it a particular crypto provider that would usually be available in Node, but is not available in Dino. Something like that. Yes.
Something like that.
All right. So, we just wanted to log out that event type. So we have done all this. I think we just need to redeploy. Let's do that again. That's an example of an idempotent command that we can run over and over and over again, because it's just going to keep setting the same secret. So if we deploy Stripe webhooks, are we actually going to make it in time, do you reckon? We're going to have any big problems at this point?
Probably, knowing development.
I love the confidence, just oozing with confidence. All right, so we haven't got any logs yet because we haven't run anything through our Edge function. So we're going to click purchase on the premium plan. And this is going to kick us off into Stripe system. It's going to remember all of our stuff. And when we click subscribe, this is going to go and emulate paying with this credit card, which will then, at this point, now that it has successfully happened, this is when all those webhooks will trigger and fly across to our Edge function. So if we refresh this, we should hopefully have some logs. Nah, we got nothing. Nothing works. We broke it again.
I think it takes time a bit, right, for the logs to come through.
maybe.
Yeah, do you want to click back on the Stripe page and see? Yeah, that says it's waiting for events, right? We should see back in the webhook. We should see the events sent to it. Error rate 100%, perfect.
Where were those? Where were our
View
errors?
logs?
Failed.
No, I mean, in webhooks, it had a button that said webhooks. Click on that's the error rate. If you click on it and then view logs on the configuration.
There, I can see it now. We got an error. It says 200. That's not an error. 1150. This was a while ago. All right, let's try.
Scheduled.
Let's just try doing that again.
Yeah,
let's try the exact same thing again. Purchase. We'll do the standard tier. And presumably, we should get some events here. Maybe not. Okay, so it seems like this isn't even trying to call our...
Yeah, if we can't see invocations in the Edge function thing, even failing one, something is happening here, I guess.
Yeah, so let's check. So this is function Stripe Webhook. So that should be right, because that is this thing. Cool. Listening for those 3 events: customer subscription created, deleted, and updated, which should happen because if we have a look at our customers here, each one of these is succeeding. So we're going through with all of these different payments. Does it know that this is a subscription? Yes, it is. Okay.
Oh, Daniel Holmes in the chat with a possibly helpful comment.
Hey lads, it's been triggering using the older version of the API. Is this the version you likely want? Ooh, very, very good call. So over here, when we go up, Wait, where were we using the old version of the API?
It might be in Stripe. If you go over to the webhook again.
Developers, webhooks, this one, API version, 27th of the 8th. 2020. You're saying there's one from the 1st of the 8th, 2022. Much more recent.
Upgrade our API in Stripe. In just like the normal settings somewhere, not in here.
Not specific to the webhook. Yeah. Somewhere in Stripe, probably under developers, probably under API something. No, overview.
Not like the little API version. There it is. Overview. Yeah.
This one.
Upgrade available.
Upgrade. Awesome. Hopefully everything else just still works.
Default latest. Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see. Is this? And there it is. And lots of events. Missing authorization header.
Right.
Yeah, because we'll probably need... Wait, can we manually...
Yeah, I think we have to manually send over some headers on this webhook as well.
But do we actually get that option in here? Let's look at endpoint. I don't think we can. Thor.
Thor, dude. Yeah, we need Thor.
Thor, are you watching?
But shout out to Daniel for that one. I would have never got that. Wouldn't
Thanks
even have noticed.
Yeah, very good call.
Thanks, Daniel.
We would have spent hours and hours and hours doing this. Let's try running it one more time just in case. And if this doesn't work, we'll probably have to wrap it up there, and we'll follow up with Thor or someone else will just work it out off stream. And again, we'll give you an update at the start of the next one. But it seems like we are getting incredibly close. So if we refresh, this one was at 12 o'clock, which is that's now. Right now. Okay. So looks like we're missing an authorization header, which we can look at potentially adding soon, or not soon, off stream, and we'll work out what was wrong.
I think we have one. So I was reading the README file of the sample app that Thor made. We can do Supabase functions deploy, and then no verify JWT is a flag that we can add to that deploy command.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah, so if we go to so
JWT verify?
No verify JWT, sorry. No verify JWT.
Verify JWT.
Yep.
Tyler. Amazing.
Let's see if this works.
Are we going to go I didn't realize that it win this week, unlike last week?
We're gonna finish with a win.
Go team.
I didn't know that I didn't know this flag either. So
that's awesome. That's very handy. Cool. So we shouldn't actually have to change anything. We should just be able to click the button, right?
Well, now you can click the button again.
Now we'll click the button. And hopefully it works. We can subscribe. And then if we go over to our Stripe webhooks,
fingers crossed
on this one and refresh.
We're not looking at
you did not provide an API key in your authorization header.
It's
but this looks like it's a Stripe problem.
Yeah. Is our Stripe secret called Stripe secret? Can we just can we just log all the variables in there?
Exposing more secrets.
No. I don't think it exposes them. You just do Stripe.
Wait, do you mean here, like looking at function
secrets list or something? I just want to see if it's like Stripe key, not Stripe secret. There you go.
Oh.
Right.
Right. Great.
Whoops. Cool. All right. So
now it should work, hopefully.
Now everything should magically work. I'm surprised we got that far without that working. And let's do the no verify JWT. Good call out, Daniel. That was a Stripe error, not a Supabase error. That was a Jon error, not a all right, so this one's gonna work. Here we go.
It's just like the last one was gonna work, right?
I'm definitely calling it after this one. If this doesn't work, it's home time.
Moment of truth.
Yeah. All right, we're subscribing. Let's head over here.
With a win.
Let's maybe refresh just to see is it gonna work.
Oh yeah.
Damn. Yep. So as you can see,
the logs in Supabase.
You don't believe that it's just worked perfectly? Oh, you mean you want to see it?
I believe 200 looks good. I just want to see the events come through.
Yeah. So it's calling our webhook for every single event that's being triggered. Any of the ones that we have told it that we want to be told about. And so it has told us that the customer subscription was created, and it also told us that the customer subscription was updated. So that's what I was saying before, is that even when they create, it triggers create and then also triggers update. Whereas when they delete, when the actual subscription expires, Actually, we can just test that right now. All right, we're almost done, everybody. We're just getting excited that things are actually working now. I don't want to go now. Let's keep Devon. I think if we click into one of these, we can...
On a payment? Don't you want to go to the subscription?
Yes, good call. So customers, no, is it under subscriptions?
It was under payments or subscriptions, yeah.
Cool. And then if we go to one of these and we say we want to cancel the subscription, it gives us the option of whether we want to do that immediately or at the end of the current billing cycle. So let's say immediately, we want to cancel the subscription right now. Take away that person's access. Now, when we go here and refresh, we should hopefully see... Nah, we see nothing. Nothing works. All right, I'm done. No, we'll check Stripe's side. Why?
No, it just took a second. Go back. Go back to Supabase and deleted.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Look
nice.
at that. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Man, we should just keep going. What else do we want to build? Cool. So we got that subscription deleted, but we didn't get updated that time. So yeah. So if you're basically, we probably don't need to listen to the created at event. We can probably just listen to updated at, because that happens when we create or update. But we need to listen to deleted at, because that's the only one that gets triggered when the user's subscription actually expires. But I think that is an excellent place to leave it. I am going to quickly
finish with a win.
Yeah, don't one touch anything. Don't do a thing. we gotta finish on this win. We're going to say this is
let's just fix one styling.
Yeah. Let's just write one type quickly.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. This was episode 18. So we'll push those up in case you want to go and play with this yourself. But thank you so much for joining us for another Supabase Happy Hour, number 18. It is amazing that we have made it this far. That's I guess we're almost getting close to 6 months of doing this, right?
Crazy, yeah. But no, and special shout outs to both Jason and Daniel there at the end. That was
absolutely
amazing.
Very helpful. Thank you
for joining us almost every week as well. This is it's always super fun seeing your names in the chat. I highly recommend you go and check out the Supabase YouTube channel. Click that subscribe button and click the little notification bell to get notified when we're going live for any of these happy hours, which happen every Thursday at 5 p.m. PT or 8 p.m. ET. But if you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, you don't need to remember that, because even I don't remember that. I always just check the little thumbnail and read the pixelated text there every time to remember when it is in America. But yeah, subscribe to us here. Head on over to twitter.com/Supabase. If I can do this, there we go. And give us a follow there. You can also click through to discord.supabase.com, which is our community Discord, where we currently have... Oh, it was there for a second and then it went away. I think it's because I've got Discord actually open this time. Let's try that again. Discord.supabase.com will redirect you to here, where you can join our community Discord, which currently has 8,529 members, which is very exciting. Man, we're going to break 10K soon.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can break it live on the Supabase Happy Hour. That would be very cool. But yes, this is an awesome place to go and talk to other people who are building awesome stuff with Supabase and hear about all of the cool things that we're doing and all the cool things that our community is doing. If you like our voices, you can go and follow Alaister Young at Alaister Young on Twitter. You can follow Tyler at Shukert Jr. on Twitter. And you can follow me at Jon Meyers _IO on Twitter. But thank you so much for joining us for another week. We will see you again next week, where we will continue building out our webhooks and then look at building a customer portal for our users to be able to manage their own subscription status and alike. Thank you both for joining me. Thank you everyone in the chat for joining me. We will see you again next week.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.